During a job interview, the interviewer might ask you, "What are your weaknesses? What is your biggest weakness?" When he asks you that question, don't say, "I'm too much of a perfectionist. I work too hard." But especially don't say, "I don't have any weaknesses." Everybody has weaknesses, and if you pretend you don't, your interviewer will think that you are not teachable, can't improve, and would be very hard to work with. You should talk about a weakness that deals with work. Don't say, "I stink. I only take a shower once a week. I'm not a very good basketball player. My wife tells me I have bad gas. I'm a messy eater." You can answer this question by following these 3 steps. First, mention a weakness that you are overcoming or that you have already overcome. Second, say what action you are taking or that you have already taken to overcome the weakness. Third, say what the results are of your efforts to conquer the weakness. Listen to these 9 ways that someone can answer the question, "What are your weaknesses? What is your biggest weakness?" After you watch the examples, write down how you will answer the question. Practice your answer until you can do it without any problem.
What are your weaknesses? What is your biggest weakness?
I used to arrive late to work, but now I set my alarm 30 minutes earlier than I did before, and now I always arrive early to work.
I used to be a terrible salesman. I usually got very nervous when I introduced myself or tried to talk about the product. To overcome my nervousness, I learned everything I could about the product. Eventually, I came to believe in it and felt proud to present it to people. I started to focus on helping the customers rather than just selling to them. The more I knew about the product and the more I focused on helping the customers, the easier it became for me to sell, and soon I became one of the top sellers in the company.
I used to be very shy and had a hard time interacting with customers. It was difficult for me to answer their questions and help them. I spoke to my manager, and she gave me some great counsel on how to interact better with people. She told me that if I focused more on helping the customers rather than on my fear, I could better assist them. She also taught me that the more I know about the products and our company, the more confident I would be when trying to help the customers. I took her advice very seriously. I learned all I could about the products and the company, and I tried to ignore my fear and focus on helping them. Incredibly, I am no longer shy with the customers. I am confident when answering questions, and I feel good when I see happy customers. Last month, I was even Employee of the Month because of my good customer service ratings.
I used to have a problem getting everything done during my workday. Now, every day before work, I make a to-do list with the priorities on top. I am very focused on accomplishing the most important jobs first. As a result, I now usually finish all or most of my responsibilities with time to spare, and I often even have time to help my coworkers to finish their tasks.
I don't speak English very well yet, but I'm taking English classes at the adult school. I can already understand more, and people are telling me that I can speak better than before. I know that my English will continue to improve.
I used to be very scared to speak in public. The boss sometimes asked me to give presentations to employees, but I always suggested that another employee present instead. Finally, I decided to face my fear. I spent hours preparing for the presentation by researching the topic. And then I wrote my notes in bullet form on flashcards instead of word for word. And I practiced in front of my friends and family. When the big day arrived, I was nervous, but once I started to present to my fellow employees, the words came to me, and I was confident and presented with ease. My boss and coworkers were quite impressed. Since then, I have given other presentations to help my coworkers to succeed, and my skills have continued to improve. I now know that the formula for good public speaking is simply preparation.
I used to be very bad at dealing with angry customers. I often got defensive and upset at rude customers. That usually made the situation worse. Once I realized that my defensiveness made things worse, I decided to change my approach and attitude. I started to actively listen to and acknowledge the customer without interrupting. I did my best to resolve the problem and not take their complaints personally. I found that if I do those things, the customer will usually calm down and remain a happy customer.
I used to have a problem delegating responsibility to my employees. I was overworked and stressed. I finally decided that I needed help, so I trained a few different employees who worked during my shift. I delegated responsibility to them according to their talents and let them know that I am giving them these duties because I trust them. Since I have trained those employees, I am no longer overworked and stressed. I am now able to focus on growing the business rather than just getting by, and the employees feel that they are a part of a team.
I used to procrastinate doing important duties until the last moment. Now I make a list of things that I need to take care of with the priorities on the top. Because of that, I'm able to finish the most important tasks sooner and still have time for other less important jobs. It's also relieved some stress and has given me more time to help other coworkers who are pressed for time.